What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 47 of the U.S.S. CERRITOS tutorial. I'm Zerly. I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Um, Today we've got about a 21-minute video. I'm going to be getting this video out a little bit late in the day today. I apologize for that. I said that my schedule has kind of changed, and I could talk about it a little bit more. And I actually started a new job this week, so my schedule is going to be kind of changing a little bit. And I basically just need to find a balance between my current workload and my YouTube channel. And I basically just made the decision I'm going to end up doing these videos when I get home from work rather than trying to do them later on in the night, because that's really why I didn't get this video out this morning, because I intended to do it last night, but I ended up calling it an early night just so I can get a little bit extra sleep in there so I could be fully rested for the day. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to end up doing in the future. So this way I can still keep my videos coming out Monday through Friday. So you don't have to worry about that. There may be a couple of days here and there that I might miss a day. But for the most part, you can expect my schedule to remain unchanged. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into this. We're going to be kind of um, touching up some loose ends here that I didn't get a chance to finish on the shuttle bay control room. We're going to be going on the outside of the bridge, and we'll be doing a little bit of detail on the inside of the bridge also. So we're going to be doing a couple of different areas. You can see I'm adding in some terracotta pillars here. I think that looks just way better than what I had before. Could have left it the way it was, but this was something I was just thinking about after I had done this video for you guys of the shuttle bay control room, and I was trying to think about some things that I didn't like about it, and I kind of felt like those pillars would help. And the other thing is I hated how these corners came out on this room. That was something I talked about while I was even doing the tutorial. So what I've gone ahead and ultimately decided to do on these ends here on the last pillar, we're actually just going to wall that off and have just a completely flat wall there. You don't necessarily have to make this change, but I thought it was going to look a little bit nicer, and I wanted to definitely get that implemented for you. Um, I haven't had too many people asking me on different sections of the ship. I've had a couple. Um, there's a few areas that I have yet to build that I fully intend to on the Cerritos. I think this weekend I'm going to be getting a little bit more done on this build. Um, I think my to-do list as far as the rooms I'm going to be working on be kind of like the bar recreation area slash lounge, which will be equivalent to 10 forward on the Enterprise D. We're going to be adding that on the Cerritos. Um, we definitely need to add in some crew quarters, so I'm going to try to figure that out, and we might tie it off with doing like maybe like a torpedo room or something like that. But if there are any other rooms that you want to see me add on the Cerritos that maybe I haven't done on some other ships, definitely drop a comment below, because I'm looking definitely to add content for the build. But I want to, try to keep it fresh as much as I can and not just showing the same stuff that I've done on other ships. Um, but at the same time, I don't want to necessarily overstay my welcome on the Cerritos. So, definitely let me know how you feel about that in the comments section. If you think I just need to move on to the next ship, let me know. If there's other stuff you want to see, let me know about that in the comments section too. Or if you're just commenting to say hey, or that you like the build, still drop a comment. Love to hear from everybody that takes the time to comment on my channel. I definitely appreciate that. But a lot of the feedback I get is a direct response into the content that I put out for my channel. So um, even if it's something that maybe I don't directly do right now, it could be something that I end up panning back to down the road. I've had a couple of people asking me, well, I've had a bunch of people actually asking me on building different ships. And if I don't do your ship right now that you've asked me to do, don't get discouraged by that either, because I'm going to be doing this YouTube channel indefinitely. Um, so I'm always going to need new content. But right now, I think my focus is on next generation era ships. Um, I've put in a lot of time into the Enterprise D, and I feel like I've learned, and I'm still not done with it. Like there's so much work to do on that ship. But I feel like I've learned a lot from doing that build, and I would like to be able to apply that to future builds, um, which is ultimately going to prep me down the road to doing the Enterprise E. Definitely going to be really looking forward to that. It's not going to be the next build after the Enterprise D. Um, that may disappoint some of you, but my main reason for doing that is I don't want to oversaturate my channel with just Enterprises. I want to, get a chance to get some other ship builds in here also, but at the same time, I feel that it is going to be inevitable that at one point or another, I'm going to be building every single version of the Enterprise, but I want to build them when it makes the most sense to do it. And I think right now, based off a combination of the requests that I've gotten on my YouTube channel and the shows that are on Paramount Plus, I felt like the Cerritos Enterprise D were the best ones to go off of because those two were my top requests. Um, and I mean, I can see why because those shows. I mean, we've got Lower Decks on TV and Star Trek Picard's on. So I mean, I certain a lot of people like myself, they're thinking of Next Generation again. And yeah, I think there's an opportunity there to do some cool ships. I had somebody suggest a Stargazer, and even though that's like technically pre next gen, I would still consider Stargazer even like next gen because that's where the ship showed up on. So if there's a ship that you want to see me build from next gen, definitely drop a comment below because I go off of the highest requested uh, builds. I try to do that just to try to maximize my views on the channel. I try not to do builds that people aren't interested in. So definitely keep that in mind. But let me know what stuff you want to see me work on because we're approaching the point where we can start at least thinking about what we're going to do after the Enterprise D. Because I've been saying that I didn't want to think about that until I at least started the Enterprise D. And now that I have, even though we're not done with the Cerritos, we can. I think that's something that we can start thinking about. So let me know what ships you want to build. I've even had a couple of people. I think right now my highest request in next gen era ships, um, other than the Enterprise E, because again that's something we're gonna skip the Enterprise E for now, but I promise you we will build it down the road. Um, I don't know if I'll do it within this run of next gen era ships. It kind of makes the most sense to do it, but I've already built two Enterprises almost back to back, so I kind of want to split up a little bit. We'll see what happens. Put it this way: if I don't build Enterprise E during this run of next gen era ships that I'm going to be doing it, I'll do it on my next run. Other than the Enterprise E, my top request um, is has been the Defiant. At one point, it was Voyager, but I've actually I really haven't had that many people ask me for Voyager. I think I've had like a total of like 6 people ask me for it. But I've had more people ask for the Defiant. So if that's something you want to see, if you want to see Voyager, let me know in the comments section. If you want to see the Defiant, let me know in the comments section. Um, it could be any ship from next gen, but I want to keep it within next gen right now, just because like I was saying before, I feel like I've learned a thing or two now from getting my feet wet and building a larger scale Enterprise D. That I would like to apply that to another build maybe, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there and see what happens, see what everybody says in the comments section. But I'm really excited for it. Getting in a little bit what we got going on here, you can see I'm just basically detailing our walls here and cleaning up the area. I added like 2 consoles on each side, and on the right side we did just gray blocks kind of like going around the console, and then we did half slabs, and we used the yellow from the other side to be a double for the screen. And on the left side we used a blue screen, and we did terracotta or white terracotta to highlight it, and then we just went back with black carpeting to make that look like a touchpad console. And we could even do that going across here. I don't think that would look bad, and you're not even at this point restricted to using black. You can use any color that you really want, and that would go really for anything with this build. Um, I'm a firm believer that there's 1,001 ways to build these ships. And I don't want any of you to get the impression that by me putting these videos out, I'm telling you how to do this. I'm really not. I'm just trying to show off some of the things that I've done and talk about my decision making, because maybe not everybody thinks the same way that I do. And you might end up either agreeing with her or applying that to your build, or that could that maybe that idea or thinking that way could open the door for you to try out something completely different. And that's really my whole goal with this channel. If I can inspire somebody to build one of these ships, I feel like I've done my job. You know, um, I'm not one of those people that has to have credit for anything like that. I think that this is something that more people should be doing, and I really want to give back to the community because I've talked a little bit about this in the past, but when I started my shipbuilding 10 years ago, there was nobody that was doing tutorials. You could find videos on YouTube of tutorial on the U.S.S. Enterprise. When you click on them, it's just the guy sitting there talking about it, and he's not building anything at all. So you don't get anything out of it. So um, that's something I've really tried to take to heart here. And everybody has their own enterprise in their heart. And what I mean by that is maybe it's not even the enterprise necessarily the enterprise. It could be the Saratoga. It could be the Vengeance. It could be the Scimitar. Everybody's got their favorite ship, and there's things that you can do basically, and techniques that you can learn and develop over time to achieve that goal. And hopefully, by watching some of my videos, if you're new to shipbuilding, hopefully I'll be able to show you a couple of things where you can get better at it. Or if you're an experienced shipbuilder, maybe I've given you an idea that maybe you didn't think about before. But I've tried to really hit both ends of that as much as I can. Um, to give people to have something for beginners and then something for people that are a little bit more experienced builders. That's one of the reasons why I've done my mock tutorials, because like for example the Enterprise D that's going to be coming up, that's going to be a difficult build. Now I got you guys, I'll show you how to do it, but still, like, even then, like, I'm sure there's going to be one or two people where it's like where they're like, you know what, I that's too much for me. I'm not ready to do something like that. And I've thought about that, and I was like, okay, well, I've got something for you too. I've got a mock tutorial for the Enterprise D just to help you out. But at the end of the day, it's just meant to be a reference. So we're getting a little bit of detail done here on our bridge. You can see I'm just swapping out some of the glass here and just kind of changing a couple of things out that I thought were kind of standing out to me a little bit. You see I deleted out that roof there. This is actually right before I had built out the conference room and uh, the captain's ready room. I hadn't figured out a solution on what I wanted to do, but basically the problem that I was having is that the roof, which on the left and right side of the bridge is really low, and I pretty much just sat on it until I decided the best course of action to do is just to delete the floor underneath me, and then go back again. And I had to go down to engineering and just kind of restructure the roof a little bit. But it really wasn't that big of a deal. But it took a little bit of time to hit that point. And that's why I'll tell some of you, take your time when you're building these ships, because you may not think of a solution right away, but as you're building it, like, let's say you're in a situation where you can't think of what you want to do. Step away from it for a minute. Come back to it. It's not going anywhere. Work on something else and just leave what you have. If it's not what you want, just leave it there. That's something that I apply to my ships when I'm building them. And even with Enterprise D, like the neck, for example, the initial neck that I had built, I was not happy with. I must have rebuilt that neck probably about like 4 or 5 times. And this is going off of like a scaled version, because I tried to make a smaller version of it and then I tried to scale it up. And what you guys saw in the teaser was what I had settled on when I made the video, but I just wasn't happy with it. But those mistakes, it's led me to the direction that I needed to go in. And like, we're kind of even doing it here. Like, we're in the bridge on the Cerritos, and we're just swapping out some blocks. I made like a just minor color mistakes, like these gray pillars that we have in here. They don't really match the Cerritos. They should be a darker color, so just swapping them out. But again, it's the attention to detail and looking at pictures of your source material to help you to get that extra detail in your ship. Because these are the things that help to make your ship stand out to maybe against other people that aren't looking for these details. Because especially in Minecraft, I found that you can't, like, some things you can't bring everything over into your build, because we're working with bigger blocks and we just don't have the room to get all that detail in. But at the same time, you want to have an eagle eye for details that you can bring in. So in this case, I'm looking at it and I was like, okay, well, basically, what you're not seeing right now is I'm looking at a picture of the bridge, the back end, and I'm looking at the pillars that we just swapped out, and I'm like, okay, well, they're not the right color. I need to change that out. And now we're going into the turbo lift, and we're not necessarily changing anything. I'm just getting all the blocks lined up. Um, but yeah, she looks pretty good so far. I definitely like those darker pillars as opposed to lighter ones. Um, this was something I was toying with. If I was going to have automatic doors on the bridge to go into the captain's ready room, or if I was just going to wall it off. I figured that for those of you that don't intend to build out the captain's ready room, you can just wall it off like that with what I used for cyan terracotta. And you can see off of this picture here why I made the decision to bring in those darker colored pillars, because this is just the eagle eye attention to detail what I'm talking about. Now, like, perfect example, like these really thin blue lines, we can't add those into Minecraft because we don't have the block space to do it. But we can do this line, and we can do this line, and we can do this line. So that's really what I'm talking about. Um, and it does not look that far off. Like it's pretty close. And just right now, we'll close off these doors until we do the episode on the conference room and the ready room, but that's going to be coming up. I've already pre-recorded that stuff for you guys. You see my left side doesn't match the right side. So that's again, just attention to detail. You get in the habit, if you do one thing on one side, do it on the other. And just going back and double checking your work. You do a combination of those two, you usually save yourself from making a mistake. I just decided to close off one of our turbo lifts because we don't necessarily need both of them. We could, if you want to leave both of them open, go for it. At this point, tomatoes, how do you feel about it? I just kind of figure, I've already got one in here. I'm just going to leave it here. I'm not going to delete it. I'm just going to cover it up. So this way, when we're walking through, we know that it's functional, but we've got a door here in place just so you can see what the thing looks like with a closed turbo lift door. That looks pretty good. I did a row of terracotta in the middle to separate it. Want to make sure I stayed within that palette that we did for the other doors for our turbo lifts to go down into the lower hull. We did the same thing. We did the cyan with the terracotta in the middle. Yeah, it looks pretty solid. We're going to head up back here into the bridge. I think the problem I'm having there is I need to add one more piece of ladder to make it go all the way up. And see, that's another alternative you could do too. Instead of the terracotta in the middle as being a separator, you could do white concrete. That wouldn't necessarily look bad, but if you're going to do that, what I would at least suggest at that point is to go in and change all your other doors so that they at least all match. Because, like, if you watch Next Generation, for example, on the Enterprise, when you go deck to deck, uh, the corridors actually change. You don't necessarily see it so much on the show, but go on YouTube and watch. Just do a search for U.S.S. Enterprise D 3D tour, and you'll see that when you go deck to deck, the corridors actually change, but the doors don't. All the doors are the same color. So that's something I think that is a characteristic that's going to be um, consistent all the way through. So you can see, I'm kind of thinking, well, you know what? I've got a lot of terracotta going through my ship. I kind of just want to like get a little bit more color in here as much as I can. And we're going to swap it out for the white. I think that looks a little bit nicer. Because at the end of the day, the Cerritos isn't as old as the Enterprise. It needs to look a little bit newer. It's kind of like the bridge between Next Generation and then the movies, or at least Next Generation to First Contact, because you know they had that jump in technology. And we've got our mock turbo lifts to go down into the lower hull. And that's something I actually need to build out too. Is the interior for the lower hull, but I don't think we're going to be doing too much with that. I think more than likely at this point the lower hull is just going to be a glorified room for the deflector dish, more than likely. I'm going to take another glance at the blueprint that I have for the interior and see if there's anything else that I want to do, but I think more than likely that's what I'm going to settle on. I'm just kind of messing around here a little bit, seeing if maybe I want to change the format of the floors. I just did a row of 3 white concrete, and this wouldn't be everywhere. If I did decide to do this, it would just be on at least the entryway point for the actual doors. But ultimately, I'm going to end up going back. But if that's something that you want to add in, feel free to do it. That's one of the reasons why I'm showing this, is because, you know, there's 1,001 ways to build these ships. So when I go through my variations, I try to show it because everybody's got different opinions and different things that they like to see. And I try to accommodate that the best that I can, while settling on the things that I ultimately want to see on the ship. I don't think there's going to be too much I'm going to be able to change about what we have going on with our corridor here. Except this point right here, we need to add that terracotta because we're at a hub. So you see I did that on going on all 4 sides. It looks pretty good. And now we need to fix up the floor just a little bit here. We're just going to do cyan going along all the corners, and in the middle we'll just have the blue. So since I've made that change on the right side, I'm going to hop over to the left side because both these immediate areas right here are supposed to be identical. So I want to make sure I have those same changes in place. You can see I've already done that off camera in this area here. Only exception that I'm still not noticing is to the right here. There's a gray line right there where there should be blue. And I don't know why I'm not seeing that, but it's bugging me. And I've seen it in like the last 2 videos. I can't believe I went right past that. I didn't even notice it. But you can totally do that. That's one of the reasons why I have going by these rules, because you could make the tiniest mistake and just not even realize it. And there have been times where I've had people comment on my videos, were like, "Hey, like, did you see that?" I'm like, "Nope, I sure didn't." But that's just the way it is. But anyway, we've gotten a little bit done today. We're gonna have still a lot to do on the Cerritos, but I think that's going to wrap us up today. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. If you did enjoy this content, please help me out and hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. New subscribers, don't forget to hit notifications on so you always get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, you can always catch my new Starship Evo builds dropping on Mondays and my Minecraft videos dropping Tuesdays through Fridays on YouTube, and those videos drop at 10 a.m. Eastern. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you on the next episode.